Hey guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com and doing another quick weekly recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending March 30th, 2020. This is episode number 238 of the recap, and the first bit of news this week comes from Soulbound Studios regarding Chronicles of Elyria, which dropped the bombshell announcement this last week. They fired all of their staff and are officially shutting down. Caspian, the head honcho behind the game, made the announcement on March 25th, and this really shouldn't surprise anyone, to be honest, especially after what we saw last week. So nearly $8 million, and over 4 years later, since Chronicles of Elyria was first announced on Kickstarter, all we got was this low-res obstacle course, which you're seeing in the background right now. It's almost like making an MMORPG, especially an absurdly ambitious one, is really hard. While everyone knows I've been super critical about Chronicles of Elyria, I do want to commend Caspian for pulling the plug on this one. In the shutdown announcement, he mentioned that he could have done another round of crowdfunding, and given how gullible people have been in the past, he probably would have raised another, couple $1 million, another couple $100,000 to keep the project going, but decided against it. So here we are, RIP Chronicles of Elyria. I wonder which Kickstarter never going to happen and MMORPG is going to be shutting down next. Chronicles was number 1 on my list, and I knew this one never had a chance from the get-go. I think Astral Creation and Camelot Unchained are going to be releasing something, even if that something sucks and it doesn't live up to their promises, but I think they'll probably end up releasing something. But it wouldn't surprise me if they outright never launched as well. But yeah, Chronicles of Elyria is shutting down. Speaking of Kickstarter MMORPGs, Astral Creation just showed off their Alpha 1 this Friday on Twitch, showing off some actual gameplay for the MMORPG version of the game. Nowhere when public access to the Alpha 1 begins, but at least they're starting to show off some actual gameplay related to the MMORPG version of the game. While I'm still not optimistic about this one, I think they'll at least be releasing something. Then again, they did release the Battle Royale mode Apocalypse, which is basically a dud and it's dead right now. So yeah, Astral Creation is making some progress, but again, after that disastrous Battle Royale launch, I'm not optimistic at all about this one, but they're finally showing off some MMORPG gameplay. Anyway, moving on, Shadow Arena, the Pearl Abyss standalone fantasy battle royale game, is kicking off its final close beta test on April 17th. It'll be running for that weekend only through April 19th. The new beta includes improved matchmaking, class balance changes, and better AI. No word when the game is officially launching, but given that this is the final closed beta, open beta and full release are probably coming next. My guess is it'll be launching a couple weeks after the final beta ends. Next up, speaking of new games, Hi-Res Studios is released the gameplay trailer for their upcoming class-based shooter called Rogue Company. It's the first ever gameplay footage for the game. It'll be launching on the PC via the Epic Game Store, Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch later this summer. It looks like everyone is trying to make some kind of class-based hero shooter nowadays. We have Rogue Company from Hi-Res, and that new hero shooter from Riot Games called Valorant. No word on the business model for this one just yet, but given that it's by Hi-Res, the guys behind Smite, I suspect it'll be free to play, given that basically all their games have been free to play since. Up next, Blade & Soul launched their Forgotten Souls update this last week, which includes the new Stone Scale Passage 6-man Heroic Dungeon, which is designed for players level 60 and higher with Hung Moon level 22 and above. Dungeons available in both easy and hard modes. The update also includes a pair of in-game events as well, and also include some minor rebalancing changes for various skills, as well as some new PvP gear, and an increase of Hung Moon level cap from 30 to 35. And that Forgotten Souls update is already live right now. Next up, the buy-to-play nomadic survival MMO Last Oasis, available now on Steam Early Access, and it launched with a bit of a bang, peaking at nearly 26,000 players online this last weekend, which is surprising since it's not free to play and retails for $29.99. It's kind of neat to see so many games try to make an MMO out of the survival genre of games like Ark and Rust. Time will tell if any of these games end up being successful. I'm surprised that the early numbers for Last Oasis were this strong though, and I do want to kind of give it a try, but heads up, according to the game's Steam reviews, there's some launch issues with the game servers, which is to be expected in any kind of, survival style game with MMO elements. Up next, Revelation Online. Yes, the game is still alive. Launched its Skyward World expansion this last week, which features a new quest, a new 10-player demonic raid, new class abilities, new battle companions, cross-server weddings, improved UI, new achievements, and a lot more. It's one of the biggest updates to the Chinese MMORPG since it was launched back in early 2017 in the West. I remember playing this at launch, but I haven't really touched it since. Kind of surprised to see it being still around, to be honest. But this is one of the few newish Chinese MMORPGs that launched in the West. There really haven't been too many new Chinese MMORPGs coming out in the West, so that made me want to try it back then, but haven't played it since. Next up, Torchlight 3 unveiled its latest class, the Sharpshooter, which is already live on the game's alpha servers. Keep in mind though, Torchlight 3 is the new name for Torchlight Frontiers. It'll still have multiplayer components, but I don't think it's going to be the full-blown MMO that it was originally planned to be. No word on the exact release date yet, but Torchlight 3 does launch later this year as a buy-to-play title. I'm disappointed to see how much they scaled back Torchlight Frontiers and just made it another typical Torchlight game, which isn't necessarily bad, because Torchlight 1 and 2 were successful, but I wanted to see more of an actual MMO, which is what they were initially trying to make, but I guess they gave up on that. Next up, Nexon announced a mobile version of Kartrider called Kartrider Rush, which is set to launch, quote, soon. The newly announced PC and console version of Kartrider didn't even launch just yet, but it looks like Nexon's already eager to put out a mobile version. I'm personally looking forward to playing the PC version called Kartrider Drift, which is set to launch later this year. There's been a mobile version of Kartrider available in Korea and China for some time already, and that one actually looks pretty good, so I'm hoping the Western version might resemble something like that. I do think a free-to-play Mario Kart-like PC game will do well, and on mobile it'll do really well too, so there really aren't that many free-to-play racing games out there with the Mario Kart-esque elements, so Kartrider could do well. Now, speaking about mobile and more RPGs, Blade and Soul Revolution, the mobile Blade and Soul game, is launching in English. The pre-registration page for the game is already up. Unfortunately, this isn't the North American version. Instead, it's a Southeast Asian version of the game, but given that it's in English, it shouldn't be too difficult to play on. Keep in mind, though, this is developed by Netmarble, not NCSoft directly, which is, of course, the original developer behind the PC Blade and Soul. There's like 3 or 4 different Blade and Soul mobile games out there, all being developed by some different companies, so it can definitely be a bit confusing. Keep in mind, though, this isn't exactly a new game, as it's been out in South Korea now on mobile for about a year or so it's not really super new, but at least it's coming out in English. Our next and last bit of news this week is yet another mobile game. Gameville and Come To Us announced a new mobile MMORPG titled World of Zenonia, based on the Zenonia mobile games. Fortunately, there's really zero information about this new game at the moment, let alone a trailer, so you're seeing a Zenonia 4 trailer in the background right now instead. The game is being developed by Come To Us and being published globally by Gameville. Anyway guys, that is it for MMO News this week. I'll see you guys next time. Later guys.